Hey guys, welcome back to Waydes Winter Wonderland. Today we're talking about one of my current obsessions, Haechan's debut album, Taste. And trust me when I say it lives up to its name in every possible way. I need to preface this by saying I was already a fan of Haechan through NCT. I mean his voice, his tone, his personality, all of it. But this album genuinely blew me away. This is going to be an overwhelmingly positive review. Not because I'm blindly biased, but because I truly, fully, and deeply enjoyed this album from front to back. And I need to talk about it with someone who understands. So grab a snack and let's just get into it. Camera lights. I know I said it in the intro, but please prepare yourself for an excessive amount of praise because this album opens perfectly. Camera Lights starts in such an intimate way, with that mostly spoken intro that immediately makes you feel like you're inside the studio with him as the song is being born. It sets the tone instantly. The track itself is about that captivating moment when someone's charm hits you all at once, like a camera flash revealing their essence, and suddenly you're completely mesmerized, falling deeper with every second. Sonically, it's this dreamy neo-soul track with jazzy undertones, pulling inspiration from Philadelphia soul while letting Haechan's smooth vocals glide effortlessly over the production. And glide is really the word here. His voice floats on this beat like butter. The chorus is permanently engraved in my brain. The vocal layering, the background vocalizations, the way everything swells without ever becoming overwhelming, it sold me immediately. But the bridge, that's where the song truly ascends. There's this constant, almost angelic vocalization underneath, creating this heavenly atmosphere right before Haechan hits that falsetto high note, and then just keeps going. Runs, ad-libs, texture on texture, another club, bar. Just when you think it's over, he closes the bridge with Mesmerized by You, leading into the final chorus where he's just vocally flexing in the background before the song cuts abruptly. Normally, endings like that bother me, but here, it works perfectly. It feels intentional, cinematic. 10 out of 10. Hands down, one of my favorite album openers ever. CRZY. This song wastes no time pulling you in. It opens with romantic guitar and Haechan almost whispering, "You keep looking at me, telling me I'm crazy. You're right." And immediately, I'm sad. The song explores this overwhelming, almost obsessive attraction, being drawn to someone like gravity, like art you can't look away from. There's also so much cosmic imagery here. Gravity, the stars, the sky, cosmic voids, all reinforcing this idea that their connection feels inevitable. Musically, it's an intense R&B pop dance track with Latin influences, full of seduction, longing, and Haechan thrives in this space. He sings, he raps, he yearns. It's everything I could ever want, wrapped in an addictive beat that genuinely makes me feel crazy. But that transition between the first chorus and the second verse, where he counts 1, 2, 3, 4, did something to my brain chemistry. The guitar drops out, leaving just percussion and his voice, creating this weightless floating moment before the instrumentals slam back in. The bridge is also stunning. When he belts "Baby, I'm Crazy Tonight" as the instrumental strips back, gave me chills. And the final chorus returns even more restrained, letting his vocals shine before that incredible outro filled with runs and ad-libs. A phenomenal title track. 10 out of 10. Confident, seductive, and fully realized. Adrenaline. This was actually the first song I heard from the album and it completely derailed my day. It came on while I was driving for work and I literally said, "Wait, what NCT song is this?" Only to realize it was Haechan solo. I immediately dropped everything. Metaphorically, of course, because I was literally driving, and I had to play the rest of the album. Adrenaline opens with these distorted digital synths that immediately paint a futuristic cinematic image. For me, I picture the album art. Neon city lights and a car speeding through the night. Lyrically, it compares attraction to a dangerous rush. Speeding without caring if the police is chasing you, completely losing control. Sonically, this is what I wish clubs were playing. A modern reimagining of 2000s club era hip-hop R&B with aggressive drums, sharp synths, and distorted vocal textures. And I gotta say, the vocal stacking in the verses is insane, and the pre-chorus build is pure adrenaline. But the chorus? Instant chills. The way Rush is layered and the way Adrenaline stretches into the next line is pure perfection. And the bridge? Wow! Everything strips back to just his vocals, light percussion, and these god-tier vocalizations before he hits that can't deny run. The song is polished, cinematic, and completely addictive. Another 10 out of 10. Love Beyond. Love Beyond is pure, unapologetic seduction from start to finish. From the first beat and lyric, Haechan makes it very clear that he's done holding back. This song lives in the space where desire turns obsessive, where attraction isn't just emotional, but physical, magnetic, and impossible to ignore. Lyrically, it's about wanting to take a connection past the surface level, pushing it beyond something casual into something intense, intimate, and almost consuming. Lines like "I own you" or "you own me" and "take our love to another level" aren't subtle at all, and honestly, that's exactly what makes this track hit the way it does. Sonically, the retro funk influence is everything. The horns, the drums, the groove, it all comes together to create this slow burning late night atmosphere that feels incredibly intentional. Haechan states his intentions right from the start with, "Girl, I've known you for a long time. When you gonna give me what I want? Come on." Now, out of context, that line is absolutely questionable. But the way he delivers it, the tone, the confidence, the ease, I fear I forgive him instantly. Yup. Especially because he immediately grounds it by clarifying that he's waiting, that he's asking, that he's begging until she's okay. The attraction is mutual, but it's patient, like a magnet slowly pulling him closer. Then, the pre-chorus hits, and that's when the song really locks in. The background vocalization starts to swell, almost like tension building in real time, until he delivers the line that truly cements what this song is about. Right now, baby, I can't help but imagine something a little sinful. Sir? Please? There's no time to recover because the chorus immediately follows and it's gorgeous. The way he repeats "beyond, beyond" feels hypnotic, with the vocals and production melting into each other perfectly. And that post-chorus, the low brass paired with "I want you tonight," has been living rent-free in my head. The bridge leans heavily into non-lexical vocals with the boom, ba-da-beat-up, ba-da-beat-up, layered so beautifully that it feels almost indulgent. It leads seamlessly into the final chorus and outro, closing the song on an undeniable high. Another spectacular track, 10 out of 10, no notes. Roll With Me. Roll With Me had me from the very first second. Haechan opens the track by casually counting it in. 5, 6, 7. And then, we're immediately wrapped in this warm, soulful groove. This song is about escaping the noise, the expectations, the chaos of city life, and choosing to be fully present with one person. No plans, no pressure, just movement, connection, and intimacy wherever they'd end up. The instrumentation is stunning in its restraint. Trumpets, piano, and live drums working together to create a laid-back R&B atmosphere that feels both nostalgic and comforting. It's deceptively simple, and that's what makes it work so well. Haechan doesn't oversing or overperform. He lets the song breathe, and that perfectly mirrors the message of slowing down and being in the moment. One of my favorite details is the way the oohs grow at the end of each line in the chorus. It's such a subtle choice, but it makes the chorus feel massive without ever becoming overwhelming. His vocals throughout the track are so smooth, effortless, and addictive in the quietest way possible, if that makes sense. And then, we get that extra long final chorus as a treat. Layered vocals, extended runs, those heavenly oohs which felt extremely catered to me personally. And the outro? Oh my god, the repetition of "no one" as the instrumental slowly fades out is such a perfect closing moment. It leaves you suspended in that feeling, not wanting the song to end. 10 out of 10. If you couldn't tell, I love this track so much. Intermission. Even the interlude is amazing. Intermission functions as both a musical and narrative bridge. A pause, a breath, and a declaration all at once. Sonically, it shifts us from the smoother, soulful textures of the earlier tracks into something sharper and more anticipatory, signalizing a new chapter that's about to begin. Despite its short runtime, it's incredibly impactful. Ethereal vocals, strings, bass, and spoken narration all come together to create this cinematic moment where Haechan essentially announces that he's ready. Ready to be seen, ready to prove himself. Lines like, "I don't care who's watching, they'll remember this moment," and I'm Not Leaving Till I Kill 'Em All are dramatic, intense, and completely effective in setting the stage for what comes next. It's the kind of interlude that actually feels necessary, not filler, not transitional fluff, but a moment that heightens anticipation. Every single time it ends, I'm locked in and fully prepared for Talented. Talented comes in swinging with that nasty bass line and an immediate shift in energy. Haechan sounds confident, almost cocky, like he knows he's the main event and isn't interested in pretending otherwise. He even calls himself gravity, pulling you in whether you're ready or not. This track feels like a statement piece. Him stepping on the stage alone and saying, "Watch me." Musically, it's a slick electro-funk pop track with a futuristic edge that perfectly complements the song's message. I also love how he plays with his vocal delivery here, switching between his lower register and head voice depending on the section. It adds so much texture and personality. The pre-chorus being almost a cappella, just snaps marking the beat, is such a smart choice because when the bass and guitar come crashing in right before the chorus, it hits even harder. Now, I'll be honest, I don't usually love overtly self-congratulatory songs, but if there's anyone who can pull it off, it's Haechan. He doesn't just say he's talented, he proves it. I mean, have we heard the album so far? Lines like "Follow me like you're enchanted," now crossing that risky line, genuinely reflect my own journey into NCT. I crossed that line and now there's no going back. I can't. The bridge is filled with stunning vocals, but what really gets me is how the instrumental drops out in the second half, letting the bass carry the moment. And then that final chorus, louder drums, more energy, pure hype, it closes the song in a way that feels triumphant and sets the tone perfectly for what follows. 10 out of 10. WYN, featuring HAON. From the very first listen, this immediately became my undisputed favorite on the album. And honestly, it hasn't moved from that spot since. This track is pure fun, flirtation, and unapologetic confidence. It's a ratchet-style hip-hop R&B track with a slick, cool mood and an insane sense of momentum that just never lets up. The song opens in such a smart way, starting with the first part of the chorus filtered through before suddenly snapping you straight into the full beat. The contrast immediately grabs your attention and sets the tone. This is playful, a little dangerous, and very intentional. Lyrically, it's simple in the best way. He's drawn to someone. He wants to know her name, and he makes it clear from the jump that he's not here to play games. He asks her to trust him, to throw her worries away, and once again circles back to the same question. What's your name? It's flirtation stripped down to its most confident magnetic core. And that chorus? Criminally addictive. I know I've said that about a lot of songs on the album, but I mean it on a spiritual level here. This chorus has been stuck in my head for weeks, maybe months, and I'm not mad about it. It just hits every single time. The first verse already checks all my boxes. Vocal layering, runs, ad-libs, little inflections on certain words that make the delivery feel alive and personal. Haechan's vocal tone here is especially dangerous for me. I don't even know how to properly explain it. It's smooth, teasing, and effortlessly alluring. The pre-chorus in particular does something to me. The way he sings, "It's just the way your body moves," gives me instant butterflies. And then when he follows it up with "'Cause I'm caught up in your flame," yeah, I'm gone. Then we get HAON stepping in for the next verse, and I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of the stereotypical rap feature that shows up in pop songs. You know the one. But here, it works. It actually adds to the song's personality instead of pulling you out of it. His verse plays into the narrative perfectly, talking about approaching this girl, asking if she's into hip-hop, and then immediately folding once he's caught her attention. It's funny, a little cocky, and honestly kind of endearing. The chemistry feels natural, not forced. When Haechan comes back in for the next pre-chorus, it somehow hits even harder. "Your provocative gaze sees through me?" He's already lost it at this point, and you can hear it. And then we get what is hands down my favorite vocal moment on the entire album. "Wanna hear you scream my name. Wanna hear you scream my name." I don't know if I included me singing it. It's so good. I genuinely can't put into words what that line does to me. It's like a surge of energy that powers the rest of the track. Every time it hits, I'm fully locked in again. The chorus returns with all the same bells and whistles, leading us into a bridge that has me in a chokehold. The alliteration, the rhythmic delivery, the way he says, "Girl, you know we wildin'," is just insanely satisfying. Then the final chorus pulls a fake out by cutting the beat for a moment, only to slam right back in the same way the song opened. It's such a smart structural choice and makes the ending feel explosive rather than repetitive. While writing the script, I think I finally figured out part of why I love this song so much. It was co-written by Juni, who just so happens to be also one of my current musical obsessions. The flavor, the groove, the attitude, I knew it felt familiar. It all clicked instantly once I realized that. I literally have his latest album on repeat right now, so if y'all want me to cover it too, let me know. I have to give this song a 12 out of 10. Not just to be dramatic, but to make it very, very clear, this is my favorite track on the album. No contest, pure excellence. Wow, that was long. Should Be. This is where the album really starts to slow its pace and sink into something heavier, and from the very first piano notes, I knew I was in for an emotional ride. Should Be is a nostalgic 90s inspired R&B slow jam that captures the lingering, complicated feelings that come after a breakup. Not the dramatic kind, but the quiet, aching aftermath that sticks around long after the relationship ends. Knowing that Haechan co-wrote this song makes it hit even harder, because the emotions feel incredibly specific and painfully real. The first verse genuinely hit me like a truck, both lyrically and vocally. He sounds more grounded, more serious, and more vulnerable than we've heard him so far on the album. Especially coming right after such a confident, playful track, the contrast is jarring in the best way. His voice carries this slight painful edge, like he's trying to stay composed, but the hurt is still sitting right under the surface. Then we reach the chorus and wow, it's heartbreakingly beautiful. The lyrics revolve around regret, wishing things had gone differently and hoping that the other person is feeling the same sadness and longing. There's something so devastating about that idea. Praying that your loneliness is shared because it's the only way the pain feels justified. Ending the chorus with "Now I know I should have never said goodbye." Yeah, that one hurt. The subtle guitar and percussion underneath give the song just enough movement to keep it from feeling static, but never distract from the emotional weight of his vocals. He's absolutely pouring his heart out here. Before you even have time to recover, the second verse hits, and somehow it hurts even more. He sings about being unable to read this person's name because his vision is blurred with tears. Then comes the detail that really broke me. He can't say "I love you" the same way he used to, because it's their anniversary. He's wishing he could turn back time, questioning why he was allowed to fall in love so deeply if he was going to end it like this. And then the chorus returns, hitting even harder than before. At this point, I genuinely need a tissue. The bridge is where the song completely takes me out. Here, it feels like he's speaking directly to the person he lost. Quote, "If you remember the promise to be forever, then you should be here." That line alone carries so much weight, and then he follows it with, "There's no such thing as love is true in my world. Realize that was a lie." The delivery is so raw and powerful that it gave me literal goosebumps. It's anger, sadness, betrayal, and resignation all wrapped into one moment. By the time we reach the final chorus, everything is elevated. He even hit me with the secret weapon, a key change. The harmonies, the ad-libs, the vocal runs. He sounds emotionally spent, but is still giving everything he has. It's devastating and beautiful at the same time. Should Be is easily one of my favorite ballads, hands down, and honestly, one of the most emotionally convincing performances Haechan has ever given. 10 out of 10. Gray Rain. Gray Rain feels like a natural continuation of the emotional state introduced in Should Be. The song opens with a gentle guitar line that almost sounds like it's echoing the feelings of the previous track, refusing to let them fully fade. This is an alternative pop R&B song built around stripped-back instrumentation and an incredibly intimate vocal performance, allowing the lyrics to take center stage. This track explores the duality of fame and busy life, the contrast between the bright, colorful world we see on stage and the gray, hollow emotions that creep in once the lights turn off. He paints such a vivid picture of that come down, describing the moment, quote, "behind the darkened neon signs, where everything feels dull and lifeless again." Night after night feels the same. Gray, heavy, and isolating, and you can feel that emotional exhaustion weighing on him. The simplicity of the instrumental works so well here. The acoustic guitar creates this quiet, almost claustrophobic atmosphere that mirrors the feeling of being stuck in your own head while the world keeps moving around you. Lyrically, he touches on losing passion for things he once loved, feeling emotionally stagnant while others seem to be doing just fine. Lines like, "I've lost my expression, quietly sinking, I remain stagnant," hit especially hard because of how plainly they're delivered. There's no dramatics here, just honesty. Vocally, this might be one of his most raw performances on the entire album. There's a softness to his voice, but also a tiredness that makes the emotions feel incredibly real. It doesn't feel like he's performing sadness, it feels like he's sitting in it. The refrain after the bridge stuck with me immediately, looping in my head long after the song ended. What I really appreciate about Grey Rain is that while it leans heavily into melancholic themes, it doesn't leave you completely hopeless. The bridge suggests that these moments of introspection, as heavy as they are, can also be healing, like rain washing everything down even if it's uncomfortable. By the time we reach the final chorus, he sounds almost fed up with his situation, delivering what might be my favorite vocal moment on the song. It's restrained, honest, and quietly devastating. As an album closer, Grey Rain is perfect. It doesn't end with a dramatic resolution, instead it leaves you sitting with your thoughts, reflecting on everything that came before. It's a beautiful, emotionally grounded way to close the journey Haechan takes us on, and it solidifies just how introspective and thoughtfully crafted this album really is. 10 out of 10. Oh my god, I'm losing my voice. Outro. Back in the studio. Normally I wouldn't rate an instrumental track, especially one this short, but this outro earns it. It works so well, and it does something I genuinely wish more albums would attempt. Instead of feeling like a simple fade out, this interlude creates a near perfect loop, making the entire album feel intentionally cyclical rather than finite. From what I've gathered, the core sentiment of this track centers around Haechan's passion for music and his commitment to continuing to create. It feels like a quiet but powerful statement. The album may be ending, but his journey isn't. The sounds of recording equipment, subtle ambiance, and studio textures paint this image of him returning to studio, sitting back down, headphones on, ready to start again after everything we've just experienced. What really gets me is how subtly it mirrors the opening moments of the album. That familiar sonic hint pulls you right back to the beginning, almost daring you to press replay. And honestly, it works. I've had this album on repeat more times than I can count because of it. Personally, I choose to interpret this outro as a promise of continued exploration, growth, and dedication beyond this one project. It doesn't feel like a goodbye at all, it feels like a see you soon. A quiet reminder that this album isn't the end of the story, just one chapter in a much larger creative journey. Truly spectacular, and a perfect way to close out such a thoughtful, immersive album. Final album thoughts. Wow. Genuinely, wow. This album truly surprised me, and I know I say that in a lot of my reviews, but this time it feels different. I didn't just like this project, I fully enjoyed every single track from start to finish. The experience Haechan curated here is so intentional and so well thought out that I honestly found myself at a loss for words while listening. From the very beginning, I knew I was in for a vocal treat, because come on, it's Haechan. But the second camera lights opened with that studio-style intro, I immediately understood that this album was operating on a different level. There was something about this project that made the words pour out of me effortlessly while writing. Maybe it's because I've been bulk writing for this season of Waydes Winter Wonderland, but I haven't felt this level of inspiration and admiration for a complete body of work in a long time. I love a lot of albums. I can enjoy full track lists, but there's something about this one that genuinely makes me happy every time I press play. You can hear the care, the emotion, and the dedication poured into every song, and that kind of intentionality is impossible to fake, at least to me. A huge part of why this album works so well comes down to its genre choices and overall cohesion. Haechan managed to create a project that explores different sounds and subgenres, from neo-soul and funk to hip-hop, R&B, and ballads, while still maintaining a clear, unified sonic identity. Nothing feels out of place. Instead, each track expands this album's soundscape in a way that feels natural and purposeful. I'm genuinely impressed by his artistry and vision here. And when I say this album was made for me, I mean that wholeheartedly. If you've watched my reactions or reviews before, you know I'm huge on vocals and production. This album showcases his talent in a way that feels both confident and restrained. Never showy for the sake of it, but always deliberate. Every harmony, every run, every vocal layer feels intentional. Every production choice serves the song. I truly don't think I have a single real criticism for this project. I am, quite literally, the target audience. To put it into perspective, I bought 2 copies of the album. I didn't even buy Mark's, and he was my bias first. That should tell you everything. I've been playing this album non-stop. It feels refined and mature, but still grounded and authentic. This is the level of quality I want to see in future releases, not just from Haechan, but from solo projects in general. And again, I want to be clear, this isn't just blind support. Every song has been replayed again and again because it genuinely holds up. Even my mom, who doesn't listen to K-pop at all, enjoyed this album. I'll also admit that I originally questioned how he would handle a full project on his own, and I've never been happier to eat my words. Ultimately, Haechan invited us fully into his world with this album. Neon-lit streets, fast cars, intoxicating love, emotional vulnerability, and the quiet weight of life and fame all exist together here. It's far more introspective than I even realized on my first few listens, and I genuinely don't think I'll ever run out of good things to say about it. I would give anything to hear this album performed live. Maybe one day. So wrapping things up, for me, he showed that he undeniably has impeccable taste. Whew, wow, that was cathartic. I haven't had anyone to talk about this album with because of my previous public opinions about men in K-pop, but now that I'm living my truth, it feels truly freeing. I really hope I was able to do this album justice in my narration and review. I've honestly loved this album for so long. Being able to sit down and write this script was one of the most enjoyable and easiest times I've had writing something. Everything literally just flowed out of me. But enough about that. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click that bell icon so you're notified every time I post a video. Tell me in the comments down below, did you enjoy this album and which was your favorite song? Because I really want to know. Remember that I love you all so much, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye!